The Shroud of Turin, a piece of linen cloth bearing the faint image of a man, has been a subject of fascination and debate for centuries. While many believe it is the burial shroud of Jesus Christ, numerous scientific and historical analyses suggest it may be a medieval forgery. I want to add that as a Christian, I wish it were authentic because it would be a terrific piece of physical evidence for the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Here are the top 10 reasons why the Shroud of Turin is not authentic. 3 independent laboratories in Oxford, Zurich, and Tucson conducted radiocarbon dating tests on samples of the shroud in 1988. The results dated the fabric to 1260-1309 AD, centuries after the death of Jesus. This aligns with the shroud's first recorded appearance in the 14th century. Although some have argued the sample used was from a later repair or contaminated, most experts consider the dating reliable. The main problem, however, is that no further testing has been done of better samples. Without it, the arguments against the radiocarbon date that we have is nothing but a rescuing device. The shroud first appeared in documented history in the mid-1300s in Lyry, France. There are no references in historical records, art, or religious texts to a burial cloth bearing the image of Jesus before this period. For an object of such supposed significance, this absence of early references raises questions. In 1389, Bishop Pierre d'Arcis wrote to Pope Clement VII, alleging that the shroud was a forgery. According to the bishop, the artist responsible confessed to creating it. This claim, combined with the timing of the shroud's first appearance, suggests it may have been manufactured as a relic to attract pilgrims and generate revenue for the church. The shroud's herringbone tulle weave is an advanced technique not commonly used in the 1st century. Textiles from that period in the Jerusalem region were simpler. This weave pattern is consistent with medieval European cloth production, further supporting the idea of a later origin. The body proportions of the shroud's image show elongated and idealized features that are inconsistent with natural human anatomy. An example of this is the fact that the fingers are conveniently elongated to cover the male private parts. The depiction of the crown of thorns as a cap-like structure rather than a wreath is not supported by historical evidence. The image on the shroud appears highly stylized and symmetrical, resembling iconographic representations of Christ common in medieval art. Features like the elongated face, idealized proportions, and lack of depth are consistent with artistic conventions rather than a naturalistic impression. Furthermore, the image lacks distortion that would be expected if a cloth had been wrapped around a human body. Microscopic analyses have detected traces of iron oxide and other pigments on the shroud. These findings suggest the image might have been created using artistic materials available in the medieval period. While proponents argue these could be residues from ancient preservation methods, skeptics note that such materials are consistent with painting techniques of the time. The burial of Jesus is described in the Gospels, but none mention a cloth bearing an image of his body. No prominent early church figures or texts reference such an artifact. If the shroud existed in the 1st century, it seems unlikely it would have gone unnoticed or unmentioned. The bloodstains on the shroud are remarkably well defined, with no evidence of smearing or seepage into the fabric. Experts in forensic science point out that blood does not behave in this way on cloth, particularly after drying. The patterns more closely resemble artistic applications than genuine blood transfer from a wounded body. Modern analysis suggests the faint image would not have been created by physical contact. It is consistent with chemical reactions. These methods were feasible in the medieval period. The only way the image could have been created would be if both the body and the shroud were suspended in midair. For the shroud to be authentic, the image would have had to have been deliberately formed by God. This makes the lack of any reference in the Bible, let alone any other Christian writings, rather strange if it were authentic. Researchers have been able to reproduce similar images using medieval techniques, including pinhole projections using a statue. This would explain why there is no top of the head on the image, and why it is simply a front and back roughly focused image. In conclusion, while the shroud remains a fascinating artifact, the cumulative evidence strongly supports the conclusion that it is a product of the medieval period rather than a relic of Jesus' burial. Unfortunately, it is just another one of the fake relics held by the Catholic Church, which includes enough pieces of the true cross to deforest a continent. If you like this content, please support this channel by making a donation or buying a product through the links mentioned in the description.